there he is. No, stop, stop. Wait, oh, branching away. Oh, no. Yeah, oh, that was a big one. Dang. Hey, does this remind you of anyone? Like maybe you? Despite all the wonderful rifles and scopes and superior ammunition and cartridges we have these days, deer hunters still miss their opportunities. Why? Well, we've got 5 major reasons why you might miss your deer. Stay tuned. Number 5, your rifle is too big, too long, and too heavy. A lot of guys make this mistake, and I've seen it. You've got this great big rifle that's wonderfully accurate because it's so heavy, but you cannot carry it or use it quickly. Deer hunting is all about being ready, being quick, and making your shot. And if you've got this 13-pound rifle with a target grade leveled 4-end stock on it, it's a little bit challenging to get it up and loaded and into action quickly enough. And then if you have to hold until the deer moves into that perfect shooting position, your forearm might get a little bit tired. Yeah, you can be a macho man or a macho woman, but most hunters are going to start to shake and wiggle as they're waiting for that perfect shot, for that buck to step out from behind the cover. So don't get too long, big, bulky, and heavy of a rifle. And if you have a 13-pound rifle, how far are you actually going to be able to hike? Now, if you're just walking out into the back pasture and sitting in a stand overlooking a cornfield, not a big deal. But if you're covering ground, especially out in the west or the plain states, that heavy rifle is going to wear you down. I don't care how big and tough you are. It just slows you down. So choose a rifle that's nicely balanced, that you can whip into action and handle, and continue to aim until that shot opportunity presents itself perfectly. That's going to solve a lot of your heavy rifle problems. Mistake number 4, not verifying your rifle's zero. A lot of guys say, well, my rifle was zeroed last year and the year before that, it's still good. Well, not necessarily. You could have had some significant humidity changes that swelled the stock and made things different. Someone could have gotten into your closet or your gun safe and twiddled around with the scope settings. You might have dropped it, bumped it somewhere along the line. It's just silly not to check your zero. And look at this target. If you think your rifle's zeroed and your first shot aimed here lands there, you know, that's going to hit a deer at 100 yards. But what happens if you have to spread that out to 200 yards or 300 yards? All of that opens up, and suddenly you're not getting your deer. Now, what happens if you go to a different state or a different elevation within your state? The atmospheric changes to the air density can influence where your rifle is zeroed. I don't know what it is exactly, but every time I go to a different state to hunt and I check my zero, it's a little bit off from when I zeroed it at home. So verify that zero before your hunt. Just the day before your hunt ideally would be the way to do it. Don't take chances with not knowing where your scope and rifle are shooting. Number 3, we're talking too big, too bulky. Here's a big problem. Too much cartridge. 300 Win Mag for a 200-pound whitetail? Really? Now, it'll work, certainly work, but what happens is you fear the recoil and you don't shoot as well. These things are big kickers, and a lot of people just can't handle those. Also, they're more expensive, so you're probably not going to practice and train as much as you need to. You don't need a 300 mag to kill a deer. This thing will crank out probably around 3,500 foot-pounds of energy. That is enough energy to lift 3,500 pounds a foot off the ground. It doesn't do that to a deer, it just shoots through him, tears up a bunch of tissues. You can do that with a much smaller cartridge. That's why I hear from so many successful deer hunters who use a little 223 Remington and a 55 grain bullet that doesn't even crank out 2,000 foot-pounds of energy. And yet they're saying they drop their deer with a single shot every season. Now, I wouldn't say either one of those are ideal, but this brings us to our classic whitetail cartridges like the short action model 308 Winchester. Even though I like to denigrate this little guy, it is an outstanding example of the perfect whitetail and mule deer cartridge. And then you might step down to a 243 Winchester based off the same case, or stretch it out to the 30-06 family and you've got a 280 Remington or a 270 or a 25-06. Great whitetail cartridges and mule deer cartridges. They have proven themselves for decades. And of course, these days you can't ignore the little 6.5 Creedmoor, and that entire family. Those are roughly that perfect category, perfect size of cartridge that doesn't recoil too much, isn't too slow, isn't too fast, it's easy to handle, fits into small lightweight rifles. I think they're just about perfect for a deer cartridge. Don't go too big. Number 2, along the lines of too big, your scope. Yes, guys, it is a common problem. You get too much scope. You don't need a scope that dials from 3 all the way up to 18 for a deer hunt in most cases. So in addition to that, you don't necessarily need a scope with a 34 millimeter main tube. It makes the scope heavier, bulkier, add that to the weight of your rifle, and you've got more lugging around to do. So keep your scopes at a reasonable size. Another thing to remember is that too heavy of a scope atop your rifle can unbalance it, and that slows you down on those quick shots. Now a scope like this is outstanding for precision target work and long-range varmint shooting and such, but boy, for most deer hunting, when you need speed and efficiency, stick with something in that 2 to 10 power range. How many times have you seen a deer, thrown that rifle up and gotten nothing but hair because you had your power set too high? Carry your scoped rifle at its lowest power setting until you need to dial up. Generally, when your animal is out there far enough to need extra magnification, he doesn't know you're around and you've got time to dial that power up. Otherwise, don't fool around with it. And don't be too concerned about having to dial things. Keep your scope small, compact, light, and quick, just like the deer you're hunting. And before we reveal the number 1 reason why we think too many deer hunters miss, there's a bonus, and this is what it is. Anytime you see a rack like this pop out of the woods, you tend to get buck fever. This is a challenging one, guys, and part of the problem is you really don't want to completely eliminate buck fever because that's the excitement of the hunt. Who doesn't get all excited when you see a buck or even a doe? So you do need to learn to control it because that makes you shake and it makes you quiver and that makes you miss. The more deer you see and the more deer you take, the less of that buck fever you will probably have. But I hope personally I never get rid of all of it, but I do concentrate on controlling it. Serious buck fever can really mess up a shot, but if you get rid of all of it, maybe you should take up golf. And now, the number 1 reason why too many hunters miss their chances. They fiddle-faddle around with their gear and take too much time before they shoot. Here's an example. Oh, there he is. Oh, I better get my parallax down. He's about, how far away is he? Oh, that's like 250, no, 200 yards. Power's too big. I've got to turn that power down. Hey, which way does it go here? No, where the heck did he get to? Oh, man, now he's way out there. What does that calculator say? How much drop do I have at 300? Oh, crap. He's moving again. If he gets over that hill, he's going to be gone. I better just take him. No, come back, buddy. Yeah. Oh. They don't wait that long, guys. You've got to be ready to shoot. Now, here's how the old timers used to do it. From about 1873, when they invented the brass cartridge, all you had to do was load it and shoot. They started a system that's worked beautifully ever since, and I think we need to get back to it. This is what I'm talking about, the simple 30-30 lever action. Boy, this was the deer hunter's tool, and it's still recognized by millions of hunters around the country as the perfect choice in close cover. But the simplicity of it is what I like. You've got it loaded, but it's safe because the hammer is down. All you have to do is cock that hammer and shoot. No adjustments necessary because there's no scope on it. You don't have to fold up any bipods. You don't have to consult any charts. You just know that out to 150 yards, you hold spot on, and you're probably going to get your deer. Somebody go skin that one. Now, not everyone likes to shoot a lever action open-sighted 30-30, and you certainly don't have to. Most of us like something along these lines. I think this is just about the ideal compromise. Not too old-fashioned, not too modern, not a target rifle, not a bench rifle. Fairly lightweight, reasonable all the way around, easy to carry, not a lot of extra bells and whistles that you have to worry about. Not many adjustments on this scope. Pretty simple. This is a 3.5 to 10 on a loop-hold scope. That's going to cover 95% of all your whitetail and even most of your mule deer shooting. And then it is chambered for the light kicking but very versatile 7mm Remington 08. I've got a 140 grain bullet on here. You carry that and I think you are ready to take any kind of a deer quickly without much thinking other than, there's my target, trigger squeeze, get that rifle up quite simply, and there's your buck. This is Ron Spomer. Hope you guys have a successful deer season. Keep it honest, hunt honest, and shoot straight.